And away we go. So good morning, good afternoon, good evening, everyone, wherever you happen to be in the world today. Welcome one and all to Coffee Talk. It is time once again for Coffee Talk Live, where we will be having some discussion about what is going on in the world today. We'll take a look at some clips from the news, share a little bit of dialogue with those of you who are able to join us for the live portion. And if you happen to be watching or listening anywhere else and you wanted to join the live portion, you can find us Monday through Friday at 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on YouTube, on Coffee Talk and Prepper University. That's at Coffee Talk Live and at Prepper University. You can find me on X at Coffee Talk Chat. You can find me on fistfulofradio.com, podcasting out of Atlanta, and Rumble. And that's Coffee Talk 2, although I cannot cast live to Rumble from StreamYard. I could only do that with Restream, but Restream was so buggy I couldn't do it anymore. Being joined today, kind of, by Granny Smith. There she is, sleeping against some of my records, keeping me company for the time being. Hi, Granny Smith. You ignoring me? She's probably unconscious, and that's okay. Let her rest. As we get ready to jump off here, we'll take a look at the news in a moment. I'm sure you all saw the thumbnail. I'll say hello to some of the people in the comments section that have chosen to chime in. I see Brian is with us today, as well as Jeff, Raccoon, and Helter joining us. And hello to everyone else who has not chimed in yet or doesn't want to or can't. Sometimes people are just listening and they can't, and that's okay. Dragon has joined us. So we get ready to jump off and we look at evil, corrupt Democrats. That's right. I can't cover for them anymore. I just can't do it. Because you know what the thing is, and I always say this, I don't like to use blanket terminology. Okay. I don't want to sit there and say all Democrats are just corrupt and nasty and dirty and evil. But man, it sure looks that way. And it's not, again, like I'm giving Republicans a pass or independents a pass. Bernie Sanders is a rotten, dirty independent. I don't trust that guy at all or anything he says. And it's not like, again, Republicans would be above reproach. I'm sure that there are some crooked ones, but damn if I can find them. There is something about the Democratic Party that really, really seems to attract that type of person. There's something about it that has become appealing to crooked people, where they sit there and they say, I would really like to get into politics so that I can steal money, so that I can take bribes, so that I can threaten and intimidate people and abuse power. I know, I'll be a Democrat. That seems to be how it works now. And I read stories of corruption all the time. You know full well, before I open up the first story here, if I find a story about corruption in government of any sort, if it's a lawmaker, if it's someone who works for the federal government, or even city or local governments, if it's a charity, I'll put it on here because I like talking about that. I like showcasing when people get busted in corruption, especially if it's tax money. And I cannot remember the last time I did one of those stories and it was someone from the Republican Party. They're all freaking Democrats, even in the charities. They're all Democrats, making bribes, taking bribes, stealing tax money. It's crazy. Or other crimes. And that was really showcased yesterday. Or it was really showcased during the president's speech. Predominantly showcased during the president's speech. Armored is here. He says this whole year could be weeks when decades happen. Progressivism has no real enemy left and is now full of crazies making up enemies. And Monkey's joined us, as well as Fluke Man. He says, anyone heard a British trans woman phone? Yeah, I know what you mean. His bank customer support, the operator froze his account because he sounded like a man. He made it worse by putting it on the news. I have not seen that story. I have not seen that story. But we talked about this a little bit yesterday. And that, of course, is DJ. You all remember DJ from yesterday. He's the kid that was showcased at this speech that Trump gave. And that is the 13-year-old cancer survivor. And why this really kicks open the door for all of this. I just wanted to, I'll show this really quick, because after the speech, him and his family were invited to the Oval Office. And you see that here. This is a Fox News article. DJ Daniel visits Trump at Oval Office following joint address. Honor, one more thing I've got for you. And that was DJ talking because he wanted to give Trump a hug. And, you know, I don't like pandering with children involved when it's politicians. I don't like politicians bringing out kids. I never liked that. But at least this kid was involved. You know, it wasn't just a bunch of kids standing around. You know what I mean? Well, a lot of politicians like doing that, especially when they're signing something they're pretending is important. This is just something that Trump did to honor the kid. And again, it's publicity, sure. But the kid was genuinely surprised. Look at his face when, because he's pretty stoic at first, but you can see him light up when he said that he was getting granted an honorary Secret Service badge or whatever. You could see the kid light up. He was excited. The guy who came out and gave it to him, the director, he asked him if he could give him a hug. He gave the guy a hug. The kid was really into it. So I get it. And, you know, reading the article here, it says DJ Daniel, 13-year-old brain cancer survivor with a dream of working in law enforcement, visited President Trump in the Oval Office of the White House hours after warming millions of hearts Tuesday night when he was named an honorary Secret Service member during the president's joint address to Congress. In a video shared on X, Daniel could be seen standing next to Trump in the Oval Office before saying, "There's one more thing I've got for you, a big hug." And the president responds, "Okay, good. That was very nice." And they embrace, as you know, depicted in the photos here. It won't let me expand it properly. There we go. And you see he's wearing like a Texas law enforcement little mock costume, Daniel. And he's legitimately a survivor. You can see the scars on his head. Fluke Man said, "Oh, the kid's a good actor, ? Perhaps. But he genuinely looked shocked when they called his name. They called his name out. JJ says, even if it was for publicity, Democrats shouldn't attack the kid. They can say what they want about Trump, but leave the kid out of it. Exactly. And that's where I'm headed with all of this. That's where I'm headed with all of this. There he is holding up his badge with his father in the picture. Here he is again with his honorary identification, United States Secret Service, it says on the badge there. I mean, let the kid have his moment. Who cares? It's, you know, that's fine. But nah, we can't do that because we're Democrats and we're going to protest every damn thing that Trump does, whether it's good, bad, or otherwise. And Tuck has joined us. Glad you could make it today. They refused to move. They stayed in their seats. They sat in their seats and they held up little stupid signs. That's the thing now. We're going to virtue signal with our little signs. It looks like one of those fans that they used to give you in church. And it's got little phrases on them. This is what we do now. And you saw that in the thumbnail. That's what they were doing. They did not, except for one, a single Democrat. Because when he did that, they were on their feet. The whole room was on their feet. Okay? They were on their feet. Except for everybody in the Democrat bullpen. They did not move. They did not applaud. They did not react, except for a single Democrat lawmaker who did stand up and applaud. Just one. The rest of them did this. And John Boy is here. Glad you could make it. They all did this instead. And this is Red State, has this article. It says Trump's address to Congress, meet the sole Democrat who stood for cancer survivor DJ Daniel during Trump's address to Congress. There's the photo. This is what we got. And they've really set themselves up for meme central with these signs, because people have been photoshopping these signs left and right. You can find 100 of them on Google now, writing all kinds of stuff in those paddles, those fanning paddles, writing all kinds of stuff in there. I steal money. I rip off taxpayers. Whatever. I suck dick to get this job. I'm serious. That's what they did instead. Pretending to protest. Wrong time, wrong place. So, into the article. President Trump's speech to a joint session of Congress on Tuesday night was one for the ages. The day after, many political pundits commented that they believed this was Trump's best speech and one of the best political speeches ever given. Democrats, however, attempted to smear Trump's address with a vast array of childish and petty shenanigans. When those didn't work, all semblance of any humility collectively escaped them, as many of Trump's guests were introduced and their stories were told. For all of their virtue signaling by wearing pink, yellow, or blue, or black, Donald Trump made Democrats reveal who they really are. And that happened also. I don't know if you knew that. Most of the women were wearing a pink outfit in solidarity against Trump, because wearing the pink was supposed to be, I believe it was for women's rights when it comes to trans athletes. If anybody could even decipher that, that's what it was supposed to mean. Nobody gives a shit. Okay. So as Trump introduced guests like the mother and sister of Georgia nursing student Laken Riley, the mother of 12-year-old Jocelyn Nungare, both murdered at the hands of illegal immigrants, and the wife and daughters of Corey Comprator, who was killed in the assassination attempt on Trump in Butler, Pennsylvania, Republicans gave all a standing ovation, and Democrats remained seated. And that's important to note. They didn't just sit there staring and not reacting for the kid. They did the same thing for all of Trump's guests, evidently. Sean says it gives the impression that someone or something gave them the order to sit no matter what. I believe it. And JJ says, I'm going to guess Fetterman was the only Democrat to stand and clap. No. Was Fetterman there? I don't know. It says, then Trump introduced DJ Daniel, 13-year-old survivor of brain cancer. He told DJ's story, just reading ahead here. Excuse me. Trump made him an honorary Secret Service agent. Secret Service Director Sean Curran presented DJ with his own USSS badge. DJ hugged Curran. There were not many dry eyes in the room or watching at home, and there was another standing ovation. Incredulously, only half of the chamber stood, the Republican side. Democrats, in their blind hatred for anything remotely related to Donald Trump, sat and did nothing, while the child who had survived cancer was honored. And today, and still ongoing, social media has not been kind to them. Has not been kind. No, they've been abusive to them. Okay. However, only one Democrat lawmaker stood up and applauded for these people and for this boy. And that is Democrat Representative Laura Gillian from New York's 4th Congressional District. Gillian, who is a first-term congresswoman, hails from Long Island, a red blip in the sea of New York blue, and quite possibly the last existing rational Democrat. Excuse me. And as you can see by the commentary here, it says, in a world of Democrats too partisan to stand for even a kind-hearted moment honoring a cancer kid, we give you Laura Gillian. Laura is a Democrat who managed to be kind enough or savvy enough to know it really is okay to cheer for the little cancer kid, even if it's Trump saying or asking to do it. And actually, Gillian has been getting blown up in the media for this. Social media, that is. Social media loves her now. They don't even know who she is. But she's the only one that wasn't so selfish and so self-involved that they would blow off this list of guests, list of various survivors, as it were, including this child. Tuck says, I imagine the leftoids could get more absurd, but I can't imagine how. Oh, it gets worse. I've got more. Believe it. JJ said, good for her, though she'll probably be on the DNC's shit list. I'm sure she will, but yeah, good for her. Good for her. And like the person pointed out there, maybe she meant it. Maybe she was just smart enough to realize, wow, this doesn't look good. Maybe I should stand up. Okay, fine. Who knows? But that's pathetic. Out of the dozens of Democrat lawmakers sitting in that room, they were so petty and so self-involved and so engrossed that they had to treat guests like this. They did nothing. They're not involved in politics. One of them is a child. They're not involved in politics. It's just the protocol is horrible. It's absolutely horrible. Flukeman says if Harris did the exact same thing for DJ, they would have praised her. Harris made history in mainstream media by pumping out mainstream media would be pumping it out for weeks on end about how amazing she is. And Sven said DJ's a fine young man. Democrats hate that. They hate it. But yeah, there you go. Laura Gillian, Congresswoman Laura Gillian, is the only one who had grace enough, whether it was because she realized, and here she is, there's a picture of it. You see her back. This is the Republican side on the right, Democrat side on the left. That's appropriate. And they're all sitting, hands down, or holding a sign. And there she is standing and clapping in the red right here, where that image is circled. Maybe it's just because she was clever enough to realize it would make her look bad and she was worried about her career, or maybe she had a heart. Okay, this kid's got nothing to do with Trump. Good for him. Let me give him a round of applause. Why not? Why not? But it doesn't stop there. It doesn't stop there because somebody was removed from the building during this and has now been censored by Congress for his outburst. And I'll pull this article up, make sure that pops in. NBC News article, House votes to censor Representative Al Green, not the singer, for disrupting Trump's speech to Congress. He was heckling. And security took him away. The Republican-controlled House on Thursday, don't make it sound like it's just because it's Republican-controlled. This guy was way out of line. Voted to censor Representative Al Green, the Democrat from Texas, for a Democrat again, for disrupting President Trump's address to Congress Tuesday. The vote was 224 to 198, with 10 Democrats joining all of the Republicans in approving the censor resolution. Green and freshman Representative Shamari Figures, Democrat of Alabama, voted present As the vote proceeded, Green sat by himself along the center aisle. After the vote, as the resolution required of him, Green stood in the well of the House chamber while Speaker Mike Johnson read the censure resolution to him. Dozens of Democrats, including many fellow members of the Congressional Black Caucus, surrounded Green in the well and saying, "We shall overcome." Holy shit. This is how stupid this is. In a show of solidarity, as the speaker repeatedly told them to stop and clear the well. So this guy heckles the president's speech. He's so aggressive about it, security has to remove him from the building. Okay? Has to remove him from the building. Here he is. Al Green, Democrat from the state of Texas, removed from the House chamber after disrupting President Trump's speech to Congress. Here he is with the security telling him, "You need to leave," and escorting him out. And when he gets censored for bad protocol, that was, again, not the time or the place for it. You're going to sit there and scream and yell and heckle. He was being very vocal. All right? When they're passing judgment on him in Congress, Democrats surround him and sing, we shall overcome. How delusional are these people? How delusional are these people? And Puck is here. He has a suggestion for how DJ can get can get the applause from the Democrats. He would have to be transmogrified first. It says he rose from his seat towards the front of the chamber on Tuesday night, shook his cane towards Trump, and repeatedly shouted the president had no mandate to cut Medicaid. After Trump had said in his speech, voters in the 2024 election had handed him a mandate to slash the federal government. So he kept repeating, "No mandate to cut Medicaid," while shaking his cane, yelling at the top of his lungs. Oh my God, this is pathetic. And then they surround him in Congress and sing, "We shall overcome." Oh my God. It as I alluded to earlier, yeah, it gets worse. This gets stupider and stupider the more you dig into these people. They're crazy. They're crazy. They are crazy. How do you do that? And then that, again, "we shall overcome." We shall overcome. What do you think this is? What do you think this is? What era do they think they're living in? Do they think this is Jim Crow, Alabama, 1952? I mean, come on. Oh my God. It's so funny. It's so funny. Well, yeah, he was censored, and rightfully so. That was not the time or the place for anything like that. But it gets worse. I can do better. I've got a better one for you. I give you Jasmine Crockett. I give you Jasmine Crockett. Okay, you'll love this. Where is she from? Michigan, I think, right? Let me get this open. And Cyberjack Sr. has joined us, as well as D-Lo. Cyberjack Sr. says thumbs up. Please, guys, if you don't mind, do give the videos thumbs up if you're on YouTube. I don't know if it helps with the algorithm or not, but I appreciate it. Let me make sure that's popping up here. And this is going to be a Western Journal article on a night full of embarrassing moments for the Democrats. Jasmine Crockett's rap video was hard to top. Yes. Is she state representative? Is she state representative? I'm trying to remember. where she's from. Yeah, she's the Texas Democrat Representative Jasmine Crockett. Okay, she's not from Michigan. She's from Texas. Excuse me. The same night she produced a rap video, and those are stills from it. I can't play it because she didn't really rap. She lip synced someone else's rap, so I can't play the video for you. I might can play it without the audio so that you can see how ridiculous this is. Okay. So it says if Democrats are trying to win the country's confidence, Americans would never know it from their performance on Tuesday night. It just keeps getting worse. It keeps getting worse. And this is her with two of her aides in her office. She filmed this in her office in D.C. on U.S. government property. Puck says before the war for Southern independence kicked off, a representative from South Carolina whacked a Yankee representative with his cane when he was talking smack about his sick uncle on the House floor. Really? I don't know if I've heard that before. From the eviction of Georgia Democrat Representative Al Green. Oh, he's from Georgia? I don't even know. I never heard of him, honestly, and I live here. For belligerence early in President Trump's address to a joint session of Congress, to the underwhelming response that was delivered by Michigan Democratic Senator Elissa Slotkin. The party was an embarrassment to politics on the kind of night when the American public was paying attention, and they were. I mean, he had record numbers. I think 36.5 million people were watching that live when all that was going down. Okay. But Texas Democrat Representative Jasmine Crockett, a bigoted imbecile by even permissive progressive standards, wow, that's harsh, still managed to stand out. That's obviously a very biased article written here by Joe Saunders, but I get his point. I get his point. Excuse me. In social media posts published before Trump's address, as the rap-centric website All Hip Hop reported, the former criminal defense lawyer channeled rap star Kendrick Lamar with a video of her lip-syncing Lamar's Not Like Us, which is a very politically charged, racist song, if you really pay attention to it. A political appointment with the most malicious AI program in China would have trouble making her look worse. It's literally hard to believe the United States representatives would think this was a good idea. I'm going to see. It's a cultural divide. I'm going to get it on. Okay, I can play this. I can show you the video, but I'm going to cut the audio off. I can cut that audio off. All People is here, and he says Crockett's crypto-Caribbean lineage. Monkey says, want to hear something better? There was a video with AOC and a few other Democrats that did a very cringy Smash Brothers parody with them in a fighting stance. And as Gen Z, I wish I didn't see the video because it gives off the how do you do fellow kids. I see. I'll play it without the audio because the song will get me in trouble. And you can just watch that real quickly there. This is her in her congressional office with two of her aides. And she's lip syncing the rap. And that's her in the hallway. But this is in DC. This is really, really bad protocol. That's embarrassing. That is embarrassing. This person got elected. This person got elected, and there's Al Green being escorted away, thrown out. The walk of shame. Walk of shame for Al Green. Again, I live in Georgia. I never heard of that guy. He must not be in my district. I don't know. Honestly, I don't know if I'm sure who the representative is in my district because I don't care about these people. And Kimberly has joined us. Glad you could make it. Raccoon says that's very sad. It is. It's sad. It's embarrassing. And why is she doing that? Because she thinks she's connecting with the younger crowd in her district, and they'll be like, "Oh, yo, she's so cute." It's so embarrassing, is what it is. And no, they're not like us. They're not. I was watching a radio show the other day, a podcast from a radio show. I forget which one it is. And there was a Jamaican guy, and he was saying that he's not black. And they were trying to get him to explain what he meant by that. And from the rest of the world's perspective, referring to yourself as black has become an American cultural thing. And they don't want any part of it. And this guy was as dark as it gets, not trying to be funny. He's from Jamaica. He's like, no, I am not black, man. No, it's not the same. Because that term of being black, again, it's become an American cultural dynamic that the rest of the world shuns. They don't like it. They're embarrassed by it. This is embarrassing. There are a lot of people within that cultural dynamic that her actions will pander to because it's become socially acceptable. But then when they're called out on it, they can't stand it. Why can't you stand it? Because something is wrong. Puck says Texas better rein in these blue cities with their election fraud before they turn into California. And Armin says Al Green represents part of the Houston, Texas area. Where did I read that? Maybe somebody made a typo in here. See, here it is. It says right here, from the eviction of Georgia Democratic Representative Al Green. So is he? Or is he from Texas? Yeah, because that must be a mistake in the article. Because I'm opening up the other thing. I thought it said that earlier. I was confused by that. It says Representative Al Green of Texas. So this article made a mistake by saying Georgia. He is not a representative of Georgia. He is representative of Texas. All right, just for clarification. And Fluke Man said, is she 14? Like a teen making videos in the school classroom and hallways. And let me throw that up there from all people. And I'll tell you what, all people, you know you're in trouble when Jamaicans say they don't want to be associated. I don't know what to tell you. I don't know what to tell you. But this is embarrassing. This is embarrassing. But wait, there's more. I'm not done just ripping into Democrats right now. I'm not done. Is Mike Johnson a Democrat or a Republican? He didn't do anything, but his aide did. His aide did. Let me pull this up. I don't know if what his political position is, Mike Johnson. Let me see. He's now Speaker, but is he a Democrat or a Republican? I'm not sure, and I want to see. He is a Republican. Mike Johnson is a Republican. His aide got into trouble. And that's what this article is, NBC News. Hey, I finally got a Republican. I finally got a Republican, and he didn't even do anything. House Speaker Mike Johnson's chief of staff was arrested on DUI charges after Trump's speech. It's sort of indirectly. Hayden Haynes, the chief of staff to the House Speaker Mike Johnson, representative of Louisiana, and one of the most powerful aides on Capitol Hill, was arrested early Wednesday morning for drunken driving after his car struck a Capitol vehicle, two law enforcement sources told NBC News. Oh, no, that's not good. No wonder he couldn't get away with it. Johnson's office also confirmed the incident. One of the sources told NBC News that a police report indicated Haynes hit a Capitol vehicle around midnight and was arrested and released with a citation to appear in court. The arrest came after Trump's address to Congress Tuesday night, when Johnson presided over the House floor and sat behind Trump's left soldier. A driver backed into a parked vehicle last night at 11:40 p.m. The U.S. Capitol Police said in a statement to NBC News, "We responded and arrested them for DUI." He shouldn't have been getting into his vehicle drunk. That's not the aide, though. That is Mike Johnson. That is not the aide who was arrested. I don't have a picture of Haynes. But yeah, that's not even Johnson's fault. You shouldn't be getting in your car under the influence, certainly. That's not as bad as most of what I read. Not nearly as bad as what I usually read. Flukeman says, it's like in the movies when mother and daughter accidentally swap bodies. The daughter went to her mother's workplace. Freaky Friday. Freaky Friday, Disney. There's a 60s and a 90s version of that film. 60s and a 90s version. So yeah, this isn't even that bad compared to most of what I read. I mean, he got arrested on a DUI. They already cut him loose. He hit a parked car. And it's not even, I mean, he's a chief of staff, but he's not like a lawmaker. Yeah, I was expecting a little more out of that. And Frankie wants to know, what does Trump's speech have to do with the aide being drunk? Nothing. I guess because it happened after the speech and he was there. I guess that's why. So he left the speech, tied one on, got in his car, and screwed up. Basically, as we shift around here, this will explain the all pink nonsense. Okay. And unfortunately, this is a Huffington Post article. I hate giving them any airtime. Because Huffington Post is basically bullshit. But this is true. The Dems' let's all wear pink stunt fell painfully flat. And here is why. Oh, yeah, we can trust this. When President Trump made his speech to a joint session of Congress last night, a number of female Democrats, members of Congress, wore pink to protest the Trump administration's policies they say negatively impact women and families. The policy in particular that they're talking about, again, is banning trans athletes from women's sports. So, yeah, it really doesn't make much sense. I don't know if Huffington Post is going to say that. It says pink is the color of power and protest. Is it? New Mexico Representative Teresa Liger Fernandez, who chairs the Democratic Women's Caucus, told Time prior to the speech, it's time to rev up the opposition and come at Trump loud and clear. I'm sure he gave a shit too. Pink, a color typically associated with femininity, also calls to mind the pink pussy hat era. After Trump was elected the first time, those pointy-eared knit hats became the unofficial uniform of thousands of protesters during the 2017 Women's March on Washington. I don't even remember that. That's how important that is. I don't remember that pink pussy hats. Do you remember that? I'm sure somebody does. The hats became a symbol of solidarity, female solidarity throughout the world, but they were also mocked. Some felt that there had never been a better symbol of performative white feminism. These kinds of voiceless, satirical protests at presidential addresses have become commonplace since Trump took office in 2018 at the height of the Me Too movement. Some chose to wear black in solidarity with victims of abuse. Some wore white as a homage to suffragists who fought to expand the right to vote a century ago, blah, blah, blah. And last night, they did it in pink, and nobody cared. The world yawned. If they even realized what this was, or if they saw it, they even bothered to look it up. Because no one cares. And then look at these people, and look at that crone on the end, on the right. You know who that is. And JJ said, hit a parked car, still a bit shy of Ted Kennedy's drunk driving abilities. Yeah, Ted Kennedy got away with it, though. There you go, Frankie. He says, now they're selling Mary Kay. Oh, my God. Tuck says, negatively affects who? People who are well off enough to pay for their transition? Question mark. And Sean says, makes zero sense, just like many of their protests. And Raccoon says, don't they realize that the Pink Karen Brigade Act only inflates Trump's ego? Now he knows he lives in their heads rent-free. We throw that up from all people. Exactly. He knows he's under their skin. And they look ridiculous. Who cares? I never would have even put that together. Why are they all wearing pink? I would have seen it. Why are they all wearing pink? And then I would have said, I don't really care enough to look it up. If I didn't read the article, I'd have no clue. But yeah, solidarity for women's rights. But what they really mean is they're mad at him for banning trans athletes from playing in sports. That's what they mean. And what are these hats? I'm going to look up these hats real quick to see what the hell they were talking about, because I'm looking at the picture and I still don't remember these. I still don't remember these. Tuck says, why do they all have huge overbites? Weird coincidence. That is weird, actually. Good observation. I don't know. I don't know. Here's the hats. Here it is. I don't remember seeing anybody wearing these. So by pussy, they mean cats? Do any of you remember anybody wearing these hats? That doesn't look familiar at all. I don't recognize this. This was a movement. Where was I? The Marvel fan is here. Glad you could make it, as well as Lucky. He said, shouldn't women have the right to not play against men? Sure. They should have that right. They should have the right to not, and collectively, the majority of women do not want that. They don't want that. They know there's a huge difference between men and women physically. Raccoon does not remember it, and Lucky says that they do remember that. Really? Well, you're one up on me, Lucky, because this doesn't look familiar at all. I don't know what the hell I'm looking at here. I don't remember seeing this. And there was a protest. Here's a picture of it. I do not remember this. I do not remember this. They got me. You got me on that one. I don't know everything, man. I don't remember everything. I don't remember everything, and I don't know everything, and I'm not going to pretend to. Not going to pretend to. Because what would be the point? Let me get back to this picture here, because of that observation that was made up here. Who said that? Tuck, right? The overbites. There's the picture. Maybe they didn't. Maybe they all forgot to put in their bottom dentures. Yeah, but they are all pretty toothy, and yeah, it does look like they all have overbites in that shot, doesn't it? Except for the Wicked Witch there on the right with her jaw protruding. But that's probably just because she has so much evil laughter. You know, it makes your jaw come out like that. And your little dog, too. Yeah. I see what you mean, though. Again, good observation there, Tuck. Oh, no. Tuck remembers that. Oh, my God. He says, I also remember how the pinko hats were all for ending wars, but only after Obama was done using drones on civilians in places like Aleppo. And I've heard the argument that during Trump's first term, he dropped more bombs than Obama did in Obama's last term. But if you really look at those numbers, I wanted to address that. I read that in the comments section like a few days ago. And it just, I don't know, popped into my head here now. If you count the number of bombs that Obama dropped and you count the number of bombs that Trump dropped or were dropped under those administrations, I think Trump beats Obama by like a few hundred, if I remember this correctly, okay? And I'm talking about Obama's last 4 terms, or last 4 years, not the first 4, but the last 4, compared to Trump's first 4. And it's a steady increase on Obama's. It gets bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger. And then at the beginning of Trump's term is where the majority were dropped under Trump. And then it shrinks until he leaves. So he started with a lot of that happening, and then it was gradually reduced by him. But technically, it is a little bit more by a hair margin, something around 40-something thousand each term. And Kimberly said, a man competing in the Miss Georgia pageant. I have not seen that. I don't typically pay attention to pageants, though. I don't pay attention to that sort of thing. But we can, and Tuck suggests lumping Biden's term in there as well, as he was part of the White House for those 8 years. Yeah, and he's Biden because he wasn't making any decisions, and he was basically just expanding on what Obama was already doing. He just made it worse, that's all. We're going to jump into U.S. aid. We're going to get away from Democrats for a while and get to just general corruption in government. Fox News article, U.S. aid head Peter Marocco tells lawmakers he's eyeing potential criminal charges for foreign aid fraud. Acting head of the U.S. Agency for International Development, or USAID, told congressional lawmakers Wednesday his staff was preparing potential criminal referrals against those who misused tax dollars intended for foreign development programs. The New York Times said Peter Marocco made his remarks while speaking with members of the House Foreign Affairs Committee during a closed-door meeting. An internal review in its early stages, but members of Marocco's team believe they've uncovered a pattern of illegal activity at the agency, which serves as the main complaint used by the United States to deliver foreign aid. Or main component, I read that wrong. Served as the main component used by the United States to deliver foreign aid. Morocco has been tasked by President Trump with dismantling U.S. aid and told lawmakers he was looking at contracts and grants awarded by the agency. Much of the money given by U.S. aid is supposed to promote stability and economic growth and supply humanitarian assistance in fragile regions, which is already too much. In of itself, just that alone is already too much. It says on Wednesday, the Supreme Court denied the Trump administration's request to block a lower court's order for the administration to make nearly $2 billion in U.S. aid payments, delivering a near-term reprieve to international aid groups and contractors seeking payment for previously completed projects. I don't think they can legally do that. It says Mr. Morocco was very clear in exposing the waste that goes on out there and in pointing out the way that many of these programs in state and USAID were designed to not be accountable. USAID was one of the first targets by the Elon Musk-led Department of Government Efficiency, which is charged with rooting out wasteful spending. So now this guy is in the department, taking it apart and doing full audits. Hold on a second. Let me close this and reopen it because it looks like the screen didn't open up again, did it? Let's try this again. Let's try this again so that you can see the article that I was talking about. One more time. You know, because while I'm reading, I can't see the comments. Let's see if that pops up. No, it's still not coming through. What's up with that? That is weird. That's twice. So while Morocco was doing the audits, he has found a common thread that leads him to believe that there is a pattern of illegal activity from that agency. There it is. There we go. A pattern of illegal activity from within the agency that warrants criminal charges against the people that were in charge. And Puck says that's largely because Trump got duped into launching all of those tomahawks on Syria. That could be. And Frankie said, it's funny, you closed the article and it wants to open. I don't know why it did that. I've been trying to watch out for it because every once in a while it won't open. Every once in a while it won't open. And Sean says he's trying to CYA and cover himself. Could be. And Jane says, love the beard. Thanks. My wife likes it. That's why I ended up with it. She said, what would it look like if you kept growing it? I don't know. Well, let's try it. But she likes that. She likes that whole Viking concept. Sean says, is he part of Doge? I think he's the interim person. He's not the original director. He's been put in there. Now that USAID has been smashed, he's been put in there to audit it and finish picking it apart. And during his audits, he's come to the conclusion that there is definite fraud. And he wants to see if it's possible to pursue criminal charges against the people that were moving the money around. So, yeah, go for it, because I'm tired of this. I think we're all tired of it. I think we're all tired of this by now. How much longer? I mean, we needed, this is what should have happened in the first term. But in the first term, Trump was trying to do it through the usual channels. And that doesn't work. It doesn't work. You've got to, if you really want to stop it, you've got to pound the shit out of these people. And Trump realizes that now. He learned his lesson. And now he's doing what he intended to do the first time around. Lucky wants to know if my wife ever saw me clean shaven. Of course. I used to not let the hair grow out at all. And all people said, saw Miss Coffee Talk on your other channel. You two are a beautiful couple. Thank you. We hope she may also co-host here one day with you. She's thought about it. Because sometimes there's something that she wants to say, and she does make a lot of really good points. She's a smart woman. But yeah, on the Nostalgia channel, opened by chance, yeah, she's on there all the time. She's on there all the time because we both do that together as a hobby. As a hobby, we do a lot of things together. Now, I got one more here for you. And this goes into the realm of the ridiculous time. It's not corruption, it's just stupid. Here's your stupid news. Stupid news. And this is going to be a New York Post article. See how this cooperates. New York Post article. Anytime now, StreamYard, I can't blame Restream anymore. Is it working? There it is. Hey, we're getting somewhere. Meghan Markle. Meghan Markle boasts about her Netflix show's success after it is mercifully dragged by critics. I don't know if anyone was aware of this. I just wanted to briefly mention this because I just wonder how this even happened. She has a Netflix show, okay? She has a Netflix show currently. She said where she says her last name is Sussex. That's not correct. She's the Duchess of Sussex. That is not her last name. It is a designation. Somebody ought to explain that to her because she keeps saying her last name is Sussex. I don't get that. Even I know that, and I'm not even from the UK. Christ. The name of the show is With Love, comma, Meghan. With Love, comma, Meghan. Okay? Marvel fan says LPH is always awesome on the toy shows. Yes, she is. She's awesome all the time. LPH is her nickname on the collector channel. She calls herself LPH. Meghan Markle, the woman that everybody loves to hate. No one likes this woman, and no one likes Harry. Whose bright idea was it to give her a TV show on Netflix where she's basically Martha Stewart? I don't know if you've seen this or you've heard of this. That is essentially what she's doing on this show. She's Martha Stewart. All people said her last name is not Windsor either. It's Hewitt. There you go, all people. Excellent. He's right, though. He's right. Windsor would be another designation. But, in the title, because you know how they have an extended name, but a lot of the things that are in there are titles or designations in the royal family, that is. But they gave her a show where she's essentially Martha Stewart, and she's supposed to be puttering around the house, followed by a camera, baking and cleaning and giving tips and suggestions for housewives. Okay? Martha Stewart. In a rented house, it's not hers, which doesn't surprise me. That's not that big of a deal because all these reality shows are bullshit. And of course, they're going to rent someone else's house. But no one likes her. And you paid her. Are you sitting down? Netflix paid this woman $100 million. That is Meghan's salary for this season. I'm not making it up. Look it up. Look up Meghan Markle with love Meghan salary. 100 million plus production costs. Brian suggests she's not even hot. $100 million. And this show is sitting at 11% viewer approval. She got less votes than Tiffany Henyard, who only got 12% of the vote. Why would you think this is a good idea? Whoever the executive director is who came up with this should never work in television again. They should never work in television again. No one likes Meghan Markle. No one liked Meghan and Harry's bitch and moan fest that they went on, which was also a Netflix documentary, by the way. Whose bright idea was that? Speaking of bright ideas, here's your debt clock. US debt clock. Showing Doge at $170 billion in climbing projected. And it's only the beginning of March. Happy to see that. Happy to see that. Frankie said Dr. Evil is jealous. He only got 1 million. Yeah, I know. And not even a reality show. For her to give, like she's just a stay-at-home mom with tips and tricks. Puck says 100 million. That's hard to believe. You could pay the cast of a Marvel movie for that. I kid you not. Let me see here. I'm just to prove my point. I know I'm running over here. I'm a little over time. I want to bring this up to show you because I do like to verify what I'm talking about. There it is. Is it on there yet? It's on my screen. Here it comes. There's her Netflix salary. $100 million from Netflix. $100 million deal. Says 5-year contract. I don't know how that's going to work. Anyways, with that, we are at the top of the hour, so I will go ahead and start signing off. Again, you are listening to and or watching Coffee Talk, and you can find the live portion Monday through Friday at 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on YouTube on Coffee Talk and Prepper University. You can find me on X at Coffee Talk Chat. You can find me on fistfulofradio.com, podcasting out of Atlanta. So thank you, everybody, for joining us here today. As always, hope you got something out of the conversation, and we will catch you again tomorrow